Okay, so what we've done now is I've gotten my finished object halfway up. I rolled a coil right down here, and I rolled that coil so that I could cut it in half. I made it kind of tapered, and I cut it in half so that I can make a pour spout. And I went fancy with my keys. These are the keys. These are the ones that I've always used, or that the people, the masters in China use. And I kind of like their style, where there's like this one right here that's flat, and then this one right here that has like a little bit of a cut down into it, so that way you can never put the molds together wrong. There's nothing wrong with doing something like this and just putting a little bit of a divot, or if you end up doing it from the other side, you can cut a little ball in half and you can add it to it, right? I like to add to this portion of the mold because we've already added the pour spout. This one's going to be added, like, I don't know, it just kind of makes sense to me in my own mind. But we have to have something, so those keys, to basically hold this mold in place, so that way when they go together, like so, it doesn't shift around. Even these smaller ones, you can see there's one that's larger, one that's smaller, so they always go together the same way, all right? These on the exterior, these are called mold cottles. Mold cottles typically look very similar to this. They're not all exactly the same, but this kind of a mold cottle, it has an L shape. Basically, it's straight right here, and then it kind of moves over to the edge so that way you could clamp it to keep it in place. But this is a pretty common style of mold cottles. So what I did once I got these on the exterior and got it all kind of set to go, what I did is I pushed down in this area right here. I just kind of pushed down with my finger to make sure that it got up to the edge. Then I came through with a little small amount of water. I just kind of did this on the table. Got a little bit of water onto a pretty smallish kind of brush, like so. And then I went in here and just kind of got it so that way I could kind of push a little bit with that and kind of seal that on the edge so that I get no plaster kind of getting through there, because it's going to be pretty liquidy once we pour this plaster. I also took a small coil of clay down in this region, and I pushed into the edges of the mold cottle, and I pushed into those edges so that way I could also seal that, so that we get no plaster pouring out of there, right? When we go to get ready to pour this, I'm going to have some of my clay on hand, so that way if we have any spots where like on this exterior edge, if something starts to pour out of there, some plaster, I can have something like a little piece of clay that I can push in to that area to stop it from flowing through. All right, so now this mold is relatively ready. The next thing that I need to do is I'm going to apply something called Plaster Lube. And I've got the Plaster Lube right here, and I'm going to make a separate video on how to apply the Plaster Lube. But this is a mold release for plaster. All right,